Diary of a Pig Zombie, a psychological mystery for kids. Kids' adventure stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. This story about a pig zombie has an unexpected twist. Learn about Jordan, a pig zombie who feels divided between worlds and confused about his identity. The cure to his mental state is found in a magical item, an enchanted golden sword. Once he gets it, it will heal him and the demons he is trying to cope with. Together with his neighbors and friends, he figures out what to do with himself and to find inner peace and healing. Halloween is the most fun time for Jordan, which he uses to bond with others and develop new friendships. He is excellent at trick-or-treating and has secret powers related to pumpkins, which he discovers along his journey to self-fulfillment. Eventually, he knows where he belongs and finds his way there. Don't miss out on this super fun psychological Minecraft story about a pig zombie. Chapter 1. I am Darren. Hello, my name is Darren. I am 12 years old and I live in a village with regular people. Strange, huh? Since I am a pig zombie, I've heard of pig zombies attacking my hometown, but not all of us are dangerous or hostile. Everybody has just learned to accept me, which I am pretty happy about. I love sports, especially soccer. I always looked up to some of the great athletes. They are my heroes. One of them, Panadini, is one of my favorites. The guy has brown hair, a light green shirt, and blue shorts. I think he scores about 2 goals per game on average, and he has a way of moving through every defender as if it is nothing. He is the best. I play it a lot. Soccer, I mean. There are little fields outside in the park, which sometimes friends come to. Some of my friends are okay. Other ones are easy to beat. I practice each day, hoping to make it to the pros someday. If I could play for a crowd of thousands of people, it would be a dream come true. I don't think it would matter too much that I am a pig zombie. There are other creatures who play amongst humans in sports games, so it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, I can go on and on about what I do in everyday life, but let me tell you about the story of what recently happened. It was an accident, and I didn't mean to do it, but when I saw it, I didn't have the guts to show anyone. I was just kicking a ball around, like usual, trying to find out how many times I could kick it with my shoes, knees, heels, or head without having it touch the ground. I got to about 54 times. Okay, 53. Okay, 50. Fine, 40 times. That was my record, 40 times. Anyway, I was just doing that for about a half hour, but then I wanted to check the strength of my goal kicks. I put the ball on the floor, stepped back, and kicked it as hard as I could. Whoosh! The ball sped through the air, hitting the wall of some uninhabited house and bouncing back almost right in my face. I think I got a little too close, I mumbled. So I stepped back, put the ball farther behind the wall, and repeated the same action. Bang! The ball hit the wall even harder, despite the fact that I was farther back. I think I am getting better, I said. I'm getting stronger. I can feel it. I put the ball back even farther, about 15 feet, I think. I walked back a little, gathered all my strength, and kicked the ball like a hammer on a nail. The impact was tremendous. Whoosh! Again, the ball flew forward with immense speed. Cling-ling! Whoops, I said, holding my hand in front of my face and covering my mouth. With big eyes and a sheepish look on my face, I realized what I had done. The ball went through a window. I stood there, anxious and afraid, not knowing what to do next. Should I tell the owners of the house? Should I run away and escape the inevitable punishment? Or should I just go and get my ball back? I was afraid. I just couldn't confess. It was a disaster. I hated myself for it, but at that moment it was too difficult. Hey, pig zombie! A boy across the street yelled. What are you up to? Oh, nothing, I stammered. Well then, do you want to play? No, thank you. And right after I said it, I ran home. I walked up the stairs to my room, not wanting to be confronted with the wrong I had done. I just tried to forget about it, picked up another soccer ball, and started playing with it. Chapter 2. I am Robert. My name is Robert. I am 18 years old. I am a little chubby, not too much, but some of my peers told me I am fat. Insulting, I know, but what am I going to do about it, right? Nothing, of course. So I just let it go. Some time ago, I got addicted to candy. I don't know what it is about candy, but I love it. Perhaps just the sugar, perhaps something else. And sometimes I wonder what's wrong with it. I mean, I am not hurting anyone else when I eat it, am I? Maybe that's just it. Pigs can eat. They eat until they can't fit anything in their bellies. It's just something about that delicious flavor of certain foods that makes you want to crave more. You might have guessed by now that I am a pig zombie. And yes, I look like a pig with the pink skin and everything. I always eat too much and burp loudly afterwards. It's just what I do. I hope I am not making you hungry with all the mentioning of food, but I just got a little hungry myself, so I'll write more later. I'm back, and I just had a big lunch. It was needed. Now I can go through the day without having that terrible feeling in my stomach. Here's what I ate. A hamburger, fries, spaghetti and meatballs, a small slice of pizza, 2 soda pop drinks, 3 regular candy bars, 2 fried candy bars, a big fried fish, and a large scoop of ice cream for dessert. That's not too much, is it? I mean, I could eat more, but this was just enough to fill my tummy. So yes, I have a heavy lifestyle. I don't think it matters since nobody else cares. I am a fat pig already, so why play sports? I never run, I never jump, and even walking is out of the question. Saying that, this reminds me of something I am a little embarrassed about. Not too long ago, I did something bad. I will tell you about it in a little bit, but first, let me just say I was a little clumsy. I was invited to a party. I felt honored, of course, since I don't have many friends. But hey, it finally happened, and I was determined to make it a success. However, I didn't know what was going to occur. Some major catastrophe, at least for me. I arrived at the place where the party was. The house was huge. The front yard had elegant statues, decorative patterns carved in stone, and a flowing water fountain. These people were loaded. I guess if I ate less, I could have saved up more money to buy stuff like that, but eating good food was a priority to me, and I wasn't going to let that go. Anyway, I walked over there, something I rarely did, and I figured that because of all the walking I lost some weight, so loading up on free snacks wasn't going to be a problem. But then I stepped through the door. Well, at least I tried. I couldn't get through. I was too, wide. Or maybe that stupid doorway wasn't wide enough. Yes, that had to be it. I am sure the architect who designed that place and the construction workers who carried out the plans just didn't know what they were doing. The doorway wasn't wide enough. I'm stuck, I said, completely irritated by the rich people's poor choice in housing. We will help you out, someone said. I'll help too, another one said, coming to the rescue. Push! I am pushing. This fat pig is just not moving. Hey, I said, did you just call me But before I could finish what I was saying, they succeeded and pushed me through the doorway. I rolled forward and landed on the floor, face first. Ouch, I said. You're welcome, one of the guys said. Oh, yes, thank you for... But they walked away. Not the nicest people I've met, I guess. But who cares? I tried to forget about them because I was about to eat some good food. There were a few individuals who shook my hand and introduced themselves. It was somewhat interesting, but not really. All I could think of was how much I was going to eat. I went to the table with snacks, and to my surprise it said, "Please take only one bowlful. Thank you." What? These people were rich and they didn't even buy enough to provide everyone a full tummy? I thought this was a buffet, an all-you-can-eat party. It was absurd. No, I couldn't abide by their rules. I could already picture my stomach growling, trying to hike all the way home with an empty stomach. No way. This was not going to happen. I have to admit that I couldn't control myself. Even I, the one with the most self-discipline in the world, couldn't do it. I looked at the food on the table. There were cakes, cupcakes, candy canes, chocolate bars, cream cheese, cheesecake, ice cream, and popsicles, 3 different kinds of pudding, and strawberries and marshmallows you could hold in a chocolate or caramel fountain. How dare they demand that I would only take one bowl when not every dish on the table would fit in my bowl? So yes, I didn't keep the rules, or guidelines, if you will. I looked around, making sure that nobody saw me. Then I reached over and filled up 5 bowls of food, stuffing them in my pockets. My coat was big, and I don't think anybody noticed. However, when I left the party, I almost tripped and lost my balance a little bit. I bumped against the wall and something from beneath my coat spilled. I kept walking out the door since cleaning it up would raise suspicion, but I hoped that no one had seen it. There. That's my confession. That's my story. I just love good food. I love candy. I just can't help it. Chapter 3. I am Tobin. Hi, my name is Tobin. I am 10 years old. Maybe you didn't know, but I am a pig zombie. This means that not everybody likes me. I have been scolded, bullied, and taken advantage of by regular kids. I hate them. I don't think they have the right to treat me like that just because I'm different. But I wasn't going to let them continue this way. I became a mischievous bully myself. It just happened over time, as I tried to fight for my dignity. I guess just telling them they were wrong, or making snobbish remarks after they sneered at me, didn't do the trick. So I decided to fight back. Not literally, but with pranks. Pranks are one of the best ways to go, if you ask me. They don't see them coming, they don't know who did it, and they certainly don't deserve to be skipped, and above all, they can be funny. So let me tell you about a couple of pranks I played on these ignoramuses. Prank number 1. Susie was a mean girl. She always called me names and pointed out that my pig face was ugly. Well, I was going to show her. One time she came out of the bathroom. The bathroom happened to be outside, and in order to get there, you had to walk through the school playground. It was just temporary since the school was under construction. Meanwhile, all of us, unfortunate children, were stuck in some kind of backup building with no bathrooms, no solid walls, and noisy floors. Everyone hated it, and it had been going on for months now. The teachers claimed they were making great progress with the new buildings, but the children in our class just felt like it was taking forever and never going to be finished. But enough background about that. You'll find out in a minute why I am explaining all this to you. Anyway, she came out of the bathroom and stepped outside the tiny bathroom building. Oh yes, did I mention there was a giant puddle on the playground not too far from the bathrooms? Well, now you know. Do you see it coming? It was hilarious. I spun a cord in front of the bathroom from one tree to another. It was the perfect distance and the ideal place to do it. The puddle was muddy and disgusting, something only a pig would enjoy rolling in. Or me, since I am a pig zombie. She suspected nothing. She simply walked to her classroom and tripped. Splash! She fell in the puddle and was covered in mud. Ah! She squealed. But nobody helped her. Nobody heard her. They were all in class. I was there, though. I had been watching from the window before it happened. My plan had been watertight, pun intended, and it worked. Prank number 2. I always hated our teacher, Mr. Stack. But when he called me unintelligent, I knew I was bound to get my revenge. It was inevitable. It had to happen. I know he was just trying to motivate me to work harder at an assignment, but I didn't think it was appropriate that he would call me that. After all, this only became a challenge to see who could outsmart whom, and that's precisely what I was going to show him. Mr. Stack had been in that lazy, no-good teacher's room for 30 minutes. I once opened the door there, and the stinking odor of adult black coffee permeated my nostrils. I don't know why those teachers like it so much in there, but I got out of there as soon as I could, saving myself the gagging reflexes once again. My trap was well-timed and smart. Another tripwire, but a different idea. Mr. Stack had no idea I wasn't playing with the other kids on the playground during recess. Secretly, I had snuck into the classroom, placed the tripwire, and a smelly bucket full of dirty baby diapers and fertilizer from the surrounding farms in town. Ha! Now all he had to do was enter the classroom first, which he usually did anyway. If one of the other children would have come in, it would have been pretty bad, and that's an understatement. It happened. It was awesome. Mr. Stack opened the door and hit the tripwire with his foot, setting off a mechanism that allowed the bucket with poo above the door to tilt and have its contents drop down on his head. Ah! He screamed while he was covered in baby and cattle excrement. It was hilarious. This teacher would never call me unintelligent again, and the best part is that he never found out who did it. Or did he? Chapter 4. I am Rick. My name is Rick. I am 30 years old. I have been in the Army for 12 years now, and I am one of the best. I have trained hard to become what I am today, an officer of the regional district. I have won wars and commanded legions against vicious enemies. I am a pig zombie, as you might have guessed already. No man defies me. I am the highest-ranking officer, and my orders need to be obeyed. That status is something only obtained by the most disciplined soldiers. Something went wrong, though. It was only a day ago that I had some bad luck and crashed into someone's valuables. But first, let me explain myself here. It didn't just happen without a reason. It wasn't pretty. Dangerous shade monsters, skeletons, and zombies were planning an assault on the fortress, and they were combining forces to destroy us. Only minutes after their preparation, they came in. Hundreds of them. Screams and war cries were heard from their side, some of them storming at us like raging animals. It was terrible to listen to. I almost felt like blocking my ears, but I took courage and led my troops against the assailing enemies. "For our country!" I yelled. Like a true, brave pig zombie, I ran forward and hit some skeletons in the face. Zombies were trying to bite me, but I resisted and avoided them completely. We were about to overcome them. Our soldiers were fighting for their lives. It wasn't going to take much longer before we would annihilate the army of the undead. But then there were shade monsters. They flew forward with renewed faith in their efforts. There were numerous hordes of them, filthy black shade monsters with shiny eyes. "Pull back!" I shouted, but nobody listened. "Come on, let's get back! Retreat!" Again, nobody heard me. They were all walking into a trap, surrounded by the vile creatures from the end. But I wasn't going to let them take us. There was no way in lava caves that I was willing to give up or surrender. So I turned around. Better to die an honorable death than to be the only survivor because of acts of cowardice. I said a little prayer in my head and ran at them. Faster, 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 bang! I accidentally ran into another person. That person was a teacher. What was she doing here in the first place? This was a war zone. But no matter what the reason, she dropped a vase she was going to put in the classroom. The vase fell on the floor and shattered into 1,000 pieces. "Watch where you're going," she yelled in anger. "Just look at what you did. This vase was expensive." I looked at the glass on the ground and I was surprised. I didn't even realize what was going on until a few seconds after it happened. I looked at the teacher. She was furious, so I decided to run away. Ironically, I stormed at hundreds of shade monsters to give my life for the nation, but I couldn't face the shaming of my own teacher. It was bad. Chapter 5. Split. They were all looking at me angrily, the people in that room. I couldn't stand looking in their eyes. There was so much hatred. Why were they judging me like this? Was it because I was a pig zombie? That's discrimination. I didn't get it. I just did not get it. Therefore, I was waiting for an explanation. My favorite teacher looked at me. Her name was Ms. Barley. She was the nicest one in the whole school, and I knew she would take my side. "Jordan," she started, "you are 15 now, and you should know better." "About what?" I asked. "Care to tell him again?" she asked, as she looked at the others in the room. The first one began her complaints. It was an old lady with glasses and a walking stick. She was wearing a gray outfit and looked meaner than the other ones. "I'll tell you what he did," she almost yelled in her old voice. "He broke my window with his ball. He kicked it right at my brand new window, and then I saw him run away, even after another child asked him what happened." "Jordan," Ms. Barley said, "what do you have to say for yourself?" "I don't know," I said. "I am not sure when that happened, but I don't remember much of it." "Well, we will figure this out," the teacher said. "What else?" Then the next person spoke up. It was a rich lawyer whom I thought I recognized, but the memory was vague. I was certain I had seen his face somewhere, but I didn't recall where. He was wearing a fancy shirt and expensive boots. His pants seemed above the average price range, and he had sunglasses that he pulled up to his forehead. "This little pig zombie stole my food and my bowls," he complained. "One of my servants caught him right before he left the door, watching him spill some of it on my living room floor." I wasn't liking where this was going. The teacher looked at me. She seemed disappointed. "He tripped me and got mud all over me," the girl in the corner cried. "It was my favorite dress, and now it's ruined." Ms. Barley looked at me again. "Jordan," she said, "why did you do that?" "Oh, I don't remember doing that," I said. "But I remember you calling me names at school. I never liked you anyway," I said to the girl in the corner. "That's no reason to make me trip," she sneered back. "She is right, Jordan," the teacher said. "You are not allowed to trip people, no matter what they say. But I will talk with her about saying nice things later. Anyway," she said as she turned to another teacher, "why are you here?" "He set a trap for me," Mr. Stack whined. It was my least favorite teacher. He was always insulting me with his unkind comments. "At first I didn't know who did it," he continued, "but then I found something that gave him away, and I just knew that he is the one who had the bucket with dirty diapers fall on me." "Why did you do that?" my favorite teacher asked calmly. "I'm not sure if I did or not," I responded. "But if I did, then I think Mr. Stack probably deserved it. He is always pestering me in class, making me look stupid and saying that I can't do it." "That's because you are lazy in class," Mr. Stack said. "You don't pay attention, and you distract the other students." I didn't have anything to say against that. It sounded like something I would do, but my memory was shattered. I couldn't remember any specific details. The last accuser was another teacher. Her name was Mrs. Snowbird. She looked at me and shook her head before she was given a turn to speak up. "Now you," Ms. Barley said, "what is it that you claim this teenage pig zombie did to you?" "He ran right into me," she started, "and if that wasn't enough, he broke my beautiful vase, and then he didn't apologize, he just left. How rude." Ms. Barley looked at me again. I didn't have the guts to look her in the eyes, so I looked away at the ground, playing with a loose thread on my shirt. She was analyzing me. I knew it. She was trying to find out what was going on in my mind. Then she asked, "And you are saying you don't remember any of these things you did?" "I don't know. Maybe a little, but it's hard. It's like I was a different person back then," I answered. "Back then? It was only yesterday that these things happened. It really isn't that long ago." "Still," I said, "it's weird. It's like a blackout or something." After that, there was a lot of talking. The others went home and I had to stay. She even got a psychologist to come, who talked to me for an hour. It appeared that I was suffering from multiple personality disorder, which is a condition in the brain that makes you think you're someone else at different moments during the day. "You see, Jordan," the psychologist said, "Darren, Robert, Tobin, and Rick were personages in your mind that you made up. They are part of who you are, but they aren't you." "But what can we do against this?" I asked. "It will happen again, won't it?" "Yes, but there is a cure," the psychologist said. "This may sound a little crazy, but there is a sword, an enchanted, magical sword. It is made of gold. Don't ask me where it came from or why it is where it is, but I heard that it heals any personality disorder if it gets touched by the person seeking to be healed." "Really?" I asked. "Where can I get that sword?" "It's in the lava caves. It's a dangerous place, but if you think it's worth it, then you should consider going, especially since you're a pig zombie." "What does that have to do with it?" I asked curiously. "Pig zombies have certain powers. I don't know exactly which, but it might be easier for you to withstand the lava and such." "Thanks, I'll look into it," I said confidently. Chapter 6. The Golden Sword. The lava caves was a place nobody would ever go to. It had lava streams like hellfire, and it was called the lava caves because it was literally underneath everything in the planet's core. Ms. Barley was very concerned when the psychologist told me about the lava caves, but I had decided to stop this personality disorder and get healed. I didn't like doing things and then having a hard time remembering what I did. It was annoying. She might have been against it, but as stubborn as I was up for an adventure. When I prepared for my journey, I made sure I got a protective suit against the heat in the lava caves. However, when I arrived at the lava caves, following the directions of the few who heard about it, I didn't think it was that scary. It was beautiful. I loved the lava, I loved the fires, and what others would consider a dreadful place was like home to me. Perhaps because I was a pig zombie and didn't always feel at home between those villagers anyway. Who cares? I loved it, and I was going to get my golden sword. I stepped on a black block, a platform drifting downstream in the lava, but I didn't watch my step. Suddenly, I slipped and one of my feet ended up in the lava. Psst! Youch! I screamed, thinking that I just burned my leg off. I looked at it, but there was nothing wrong with it. It was as if I was immune to it. My skin was resistant to fire and lava. How interesting. I wanted to try it again, but I wasn't sure if I should. What if it was just a one-time incident? What if something weird happened, and the next I really would burn my foot? I thought and thought, but I just wanted to know, so I decided to risk it. You may think I was crazy for trying this, but since I was a little crazy to begin with, I didn't think I had much to lose. By the way, don't try this at home unless you're a real pig zombie. I closed my eyes tightly and moved my foot towards the lava, slowly. Psst. It made a sizzling sound, but I felt nothing. I pulled my leg out of the lava and discovered that no harm was done. "Yes!" I exclaimed joyfully. "I am resistant to the lava! What am I still doing on this platform? I might as well swim through it." And that's what I did. I took off my suit and jumped in the lava. I started swimming and felt like a fish in the water. It was great. After a while, I came to the rock in the shape of a skull. This was where they said the sword would be. I looked up. The skull looked creepy. A light was radiating from the skull rock's eye. "That must be it," I said out loud. I didn't wait any longer and swam towards the rock. When I came out of the lava, I noticed something I hadn't thought of. My clothes were burned. I was completely naked. It made sense because I was immune to lava, but my clothes were not. It didn't matter though, since there was nobody out here, and I looked like a pig zombie. I mean, I was a pig zombie, so oh well. I went on and climbed to the top, crawling through a narrow space to get to what I thought would be the shimmering sword. Then I saw it. It was a beautiful sword. It was glowing. I touched it and felt an immense rush going through my body. Visions unfolded before my eyes about things I had done as one person and another. I closed my eyes and could remember everything. Never before had I felt so good. I was certain that I was cured. What a powerful force. What an awesome sword. I was sincerely impressed. I didn't expect it to have such a profound effect on me. I decided to go back to my hometown. It took a while before I found my way out, but I came to discover that the lava caves was actually really well organized. Well, at least I thought so. To any of the villagers, it could have appeared as a chaotic mess, but an inner instinct in my pig zombie's brain told me exactly where to go and what to do. I found my way out within a small amount of time. It was easy. I was actually looking forward to coming back here someday, no matter how crazy that sounds. When I came to the village, I snuck back to my house. I didn't want anyone to see me, since I still wasn't wearing any clothes. Luckily, it was midnight, and there was not a soul to be seen outside. Chapter 7. Halloween. I came back and felt like a new person. I was nicer to the other children, and I never got mixed up. My name was Jordan, and I knew it. I would never forget it. My memory was healed by the magic sword. That month, it was Halloween. It was my favorite time of the year. I always liked the scary and mystical stuff anyway, but it was even better around Halloween. It was a free ticket to scaring people. That's how I saw it. It was a time for candy, which I don't feel addicted to anymore, but I still like it. It was a time for dressing up. I was crazy about this holiday. But now that I had a new attitude towards life, I wanted to give something back. I had been nagging and bullying. I had done stupid things and caused accidents, and now it was time to be a little selfless. I discovered another of my superpowers, spawning pumpkins. For some reason, I was able to create a pumpkin out of thin air. I found out about it when I wished for one but didn't have the money to buy one. Okay, so perhaps some of the competitors or pumpkin vendors weren't happy with what I was doing, but these people didn't have anything to begin with, the ones I will tell you about now. I asked some of my friends to come over and showed them what I could do. They were amazed and immediately came up with 100 names of people who were impoverished and didn't have any money to buy a pumpkin. I wanted to help them have a happy Halloween, so we took the list of addresses, visited them by knocking on their doors, and creating a pumpkin in front of their eyes. Some people just expressed a simple thank you. Others were in tears of joy and gratitude. Some of them weren't home, and some didn't really know what to think of it, but whatever happened, I was glad to contribute. One time, something went really wrong, though. I banged on the door, and the door broke. "Great, now look what you've done," one of my friends said. The old lady who lived there opened the door, or in other words, opened what was left to open. She asked us what happened. "I'm sorry," I said. "I will try to fix it." And so I did. I was shocked how easy it was to put the door back on its hinges. However, after that little incident, I decided it was better for me to stay in the back and have my friends knock on doors. After those names, we did real trick-or-treating. We got a bucket full of candy after an hour or two. "Are you thinking what I am thinking?" one of my friends asked. "That depends on what you're thinking, but I think we should take these to the same people we just brought a pumpkin," I said. "Let's just have one first," my friend said. "We don't need it. They may be happier with it than us," I said. "Please, just one each, and then we'll give the rest to them." "Okay, I think we deserve at least one piece of candy," I admitted. We all picked our favorite and went back to the poor people we knew. Most of them didn't mind us bothering them, especially when we brought them candy. It felt good to give something back to the community. I apologized to the people I had wronged, and everything turned out to go well. Chapter 8. Back to the Lava Caves. After the Halloween fun I had in the village, I decided that it was time for me to move on. I had lived in that village all my life, but when I came to the lava caves, I felt right at home. I was immune to the lava, there was all kinds of fun stuff to do for a pig zombie, and there was hardly any threat. It was the place to be. I said goodbye to my friends and to my friendly teacher, Ms. Barley. I said goodbye to the psychologist who had showed me the way, and I left. I left to the lava caves. It was great, nice and hot, like a jacuzzi. It didn't burn my skin, and I loved swimming in it. There was enough food to go around, since all I had to do was step outside, hunt for something, and roast it above the lava. And guess where I slept? In the cave, near the amazing sword. Anytime I felt sick or tired, I would touch it and feel the renewed energy flow through my body. It was pure magic. The end. Diary of a Wimpy Monster, the electric monster who discovered his worth. Kids' Adventure Stories. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Read this story about a green monster. His name was Corey. He loved to blow things up, including himself sometimes. His friend and foe was electricity, and he may just know what exactly to do with it. Corey didn't have an easy life, though. Most other animals, creatures, and people didn't accept him. It's because he was different. People are always afraid of what's different, but Corey will show them what he is made of. Wandering the streets, he looked for his purpose, a purpose he eventually found, and a passion he pursued. Chapter 2. Explosions. Corey had a special gift. He could talk to animals and explode without dying. All green monsters were able to explode, although Corey wasn't sure about how special it was to talk to animals. Either way, he was obsessed with explosions, fire, and fireworks. Saying that he was a pyromaniac was an understatement. But he never knew what to do with it. What profession could he possibly pursue with the talent to explode? Playing with fire was a daily ritual. He poured gasoline on it, tried sticks, plastic, and metal, became an expert at lighting a fire without matches, and counted the number of sparks being blown from the hot elements he created. A weekly ritual of his was to buy some fireworks, although his money was running out and he had to cut back on this fun activity. Ground flowers, arrows, and crackers were used behind the old deserted factory building by this fire enthusiast, as if there was nothing better in life. He was amazed at their different colors and the shrieks that came out of the lit-up powder. Sometimes he just wanted to explode. At those moments, he would plug his fingers into the outlets of some building, don't ever try this at home, kids, and charge himself. He would turn blue and start shining brightly before storming into a tree, a wall, or a stump and blow it off the face of the country. If only he could use these exciting actions somewhere where they needed him. Then he would be able to get his life back on track and start saving up again. Right now, all he had was his backpack, his bank card, and a blanket and pillow to keep him alive. The streets were harsh. They were filthy and sometimes cold. It was all a big nightmare. Chapter 3. Not Giving In. Corey woke up with a jolt. He looked around him and realized it was going to rain. Thick clouds gathered above him, towering over the skyscrapers and threatening the city with its impending watery floods from the sky. Thunder was roaring in the distance, always following a bright lightning flash. Crack! Boom, boom, boom! It was frightening. It wouldn't take long now before it would rain cats and dogs in the entire city. I better find some shelter, Corey mumbled. He ran towards a convenience store, but on the way he got struck by lightning. Ah! Corey cried out. He fell on the floor thinking he was dead. He wasn't. He opened his eyes and stood up. He was alive. But wait, something else was going on. Something about him was different. He looked at his body. It was lit up brightly with a white-blue aura around him. Then he understood. Lightning was filled with electricity. Believe it or not, the amount of electricity in those black clouds exceeded the electricity on the whole block. This was just like charging himself up in the outlet. Although he didn't like the electric shock he got from the thunderbolt, he knew it gave him an immense feeling of power afterwards. Yet he resisted the temptation to function as a lightning rod. He kept running, but he realized he was fully charged with energy and was about to explode. He ran towards an empty area with no buildings within a considerable distance and blew up. Boom! The pieces of his body came back together, and he shook his head to overcome the sudden shock from the explosion. Fortunately, nothing was damaged. He glanced behind him and sighed when he noticed nobody saw it. However, now he was in an open space. Corey didn't want to get struck by lightning again because that would make him blow up another time. So he avoided open spaces and stuck to the buildings. Running to the convenience store, his brains tried to process what had just happened. Just before the rain began to pour down, he stepped into the store. Ding dong! The bell rang. "Hey, Green Monster, what are you doing here?" the lady at the store asked. "I am just looking, thank you," Corey answered. "Okay, but if you're not going to buy anything, then just leave. I don't have time for leeches." What a hag. As soon as the rain would be over, he would get out of the store to avoid this evil old woman. Yuck! Could people be any more insulting? He wasn't really looking. He just wanted a place to hide from the rain, or better yet, to hide from the thunderbolts that gave him so much power. He had never caused a big explosion before. This was dangerous. Chapter 4: Electricity City. The rain was over. Corey bought a small snack at the store and went outside. An electricity line was broken, and a construction team, the fire department, and police officers had gathered around it to evaluate the situation. It stood out. It made Corey think. This whole city would be lost if the lights went out. Businesses would close, panic would arise, and nobody would be safe. He was sure that the stores would be robbed, and that without alarms being able to go off, the crime rate would go up within moments. People run around looking for a solution. Mayhem would be the constant companion of assaults and theft. It would be awful. Such a delicate place, all based on the continuous flow from power plants. If all would collapse, would people show their true colors? Or would they be attracted to philanthropy and charity services? One could only wonder, he thought. Still, the question fascinated him. He watched as a tram rode into a different direction, connecting to the opposite electricity cables. Somebody on the phone bumped into his shoulder. "Watch where you're going, pal," the woman yelled. "No, it's nothing," she continued. "Just some loser who stood in my way. Now, what were you saying about the clothes that were on sale at the—" Corey watched a boy playing a video game in the corner of a house. All the lights were on. His mother turned down the air conditioning and pushed the button of the remote control for the television. He saw a woman cooking in a crock pot through a window while checking messages on her laptop. A car drove by with the heavy, loud bass of a hip-hop song. Everything was run by electricity. It was all around him. How feeble. If the power turned off, what would people even be able to do anymore? Chapter 5: Upset. "Hey, you!" a voice shouted. It was an old man with a beard. He looked like he had lost his marbles long ago. His eyes were crossed and his coat was tattered, not looking like the cream of the crop, or so Corey concluded. "Want to buy an electric blanket? That old piece of junk you have looks terrible. An electric blanket is lots warmer, and all you have to do is plug it in." "No, thank you," Corey said as he started walking away. "Come back," the man yelled. "You don't know what you're missing out on." "Oh, I know," Corey said. This guy wouldn't let go. How annoying. Corey walked faster, but the man kept following him. Eventually, the old man caught up with him and said in a stern voice, "Turn around." Corey turned around. The man was holding a gun. "Well, how about this, little green monster? Give me all your money or I'll shoot you. You could have had it all, man. I offered you a great product, but you didn't take it, and now you only have yourself to blame." "What?" Corey said in disbelief. "Come on," the old man continued. "I don't have all day. Hand me your wallet or I'll kill you right here, right now." Corey reached for his wallet and grudgingly handed it over. "Ha ha ha!" the man yelled as he ran away with his new possession. Corey stood there, robbed and discouraged. He came to his senses for a few seconds and then walked away. Should he call the police? The guy was long gone by now. There was nothing he thought he could do. He took his blanket out of his backpack again and set up a place where he could sleep on the sidewalk. After about an hour, he woke up by severe pain in his stomach. "Hey, dumb hobo," a man in an ironed suit said, kicking the sleeping green monster. "Shouldn't you be going to a homeless shelter and bug the social workers there instead of polluting the city with your foul stench? Get out of here. This is a decent neighborhood. We don't want the likes of you. Go!" Corey was scared to death. The backlight behind the rich man made him appear even scarier, and it all happened so fast that Corey had no clue how to react. So he picked up his stuff and ran off to a different location. Chapter 6: The Frightening Forest. Days went by, and Corey gradually became sick of the people in this city. He wanted to get out, but in order to do so, he had to go a long distance. "Oh well, let's just do it," he decided, as he hopped over the subway machines that actually needed a token. He knew it wasn't legal to travel without paying, but he had nothing left, and he wanted to leave more than anything. Nobody came. He just sat there in the subway with a dozen other people. No one suspected anything. Corey sighed. After an hour, he had reached the border of the city. He got out, walked upstairs with the crowd, and set course to the woods. Passing a few more blocks, he reached the edge of town and ventured for the forest. It was so peaceful. He loved it. The forest was full with green trees, fresh plants, and flowers in every color. He was so impressed that he decided to live here from now on. "Yes, this is it," he decided. "This is where I am going to live. I'll survive by finding food here. It won't be so hard." The trip had exhausted him, and he fell asleep. He slept for hours, feeling that his energy got drained by the lack of food and sleep, as well as all the tension in his body by constantly being nervous because he traveled illegally. But now he was able to rest. Finally. He slept like a baby. It was all so serene and lovely in the woods. But there was something Corey didn't expect. He woke up, he yawned, then he heard a loud meow. "Oh no, it can't be," he thought. "Not cats. I hate cats. They hate me. We don't get along." He looked at the trees around him, nervously fidgeting and tapping his feet. There. In the distance, a cat was slowly walking closer to him. "Meow," the cat said. "Meow." Another went, "Meow." It was a whole pack of cats. Corey stepped back and started sweating as he slowly walked backwards, not shifting his gaze from the approaching animals. He was so afraid of cats that he could explode right there just because they agitated him. And was that an ocelot? Oh no, he hated those even more. He counted them. There were 5 cats and 3 ocelots, all coming at him for some reason. "Stay away," Corey yelled. "Leave me alone, stupid cats." "And ocelots," one of the ocelots commented. That's right. Corey forgot that he could speak with animals. He had been so caught up with everything else that his ability got lost in his memory. "Yes, and ocelots," he said. "So what? Now stay over there and don't come near me." "Why not?" one of the cats asked. "You seem pretty smart. You know we can't do much to you. If we kill you, you will explode in our faces. Besides, what are you doing here anyway?" "I wanted to leave the city. People are so mean there. I thought I would just reside in the woods instead." "What did they do to you?" an ocelot asked. "Well, they robbed me, kicked me, yelled at me," Corey said before he got interrupted. "Then what are you doing here?" the ocelot asked. "Shouldn't you be doing something about it?" "Ha! You don't know what you are talking about," Corey answered. "What can I do about it? That's just how people are." "All people?" one of the cats asked. "Yes, all of them," Corey said in anger. "I've been treated like dirt. Nobody seems to care. And now I am broke too. I hate them. I hate all of them." "What are you waiting for then? Go get it," the cat said. "Get what?" "Revenge," the cats all said at the same time in an eerie tone. Chapter 7: Choices. Corey had been emotionally damaged, that was for sure. He was well aware of his state of mind, of his traumatic experiences. Shouldn't this be a reason to stop thinking about it and not overestimate the clarity of his mind? He shoved the thought away and got a raging look on his face. Here he was, talking to cats and ocelots, the scariest creatures on the planet, and they actually had a point. "You're right," Corey said with a bitter, determined face and a low tone. "Time for payback. They will suffer. Mark my words." He stepped forward and walked past the contrived creatures, feeling more courageous than ever before. In a resolute pace, he headed back to the city, ready to scheme against the entire metropolis that had hurt him so much. As of now, he didn't know what to do. He wanted something to do something big, something that would make them realize they couldn't treat others like this. He was boiling up inside when he thought of the rude, inconsiderate monsters who had wronged him. For a few minutes, all that went through his mind were horrific images of vengeful hate. He steadied his pace and reached the bordering neighborhoods of the city. Then he saw it. He knew it. This was his plan. A few 100 feet away, he saw a power plant. That would be the perfect solution to his problem. He would turn off all electricity. It was brilliant. This is what he was going to do. Chapter 8. The Boom. Corey realized it wasn't as easy as he thought. How was he going to turn off the electricity in the city? Was there a central switch somewhere in the building? No, that would be too simple. Why would they have a switch that turned off all power? It was a ridiculous concept. He went closer and saw a man standing guard. He didn't expect that, but it made sense. Not too beneficial for him, though. Now he needed a way around him. "Ah," Corey thought, "what better distraction than a little fire?" With 2 branches, he rubbed off a spark and blew at it lightly to increase its range. Slowly but surely, Corey managed to start a small fire. Then he took a heavy branch and held it in the flames. It was like a torch. He snuck to the guard but kept his distance. Anyone else standing there? Not really. This was the only person there. Everything else was safe. Then he threw the lit-up torch in some bushes across from him. "Hey, what the guard said. The guard walked to the burning bushes. That was the moment Corey ran as fast as his legs would carry him. The guard didn't even notice him. His attention got caught by the fire. Corey approached the enormous building and climbed the outside stairs to the rooftop. Now what? Again, a storm was raging, but it was still far away. However, this is exactly the idea that Corey was looking for. Being a green monster, he had the perfect opportunity to blow up everything by becoming a lightning rod and redirecting that power to the power plant, causing it to break down so that the city would be without electricity. He waited and waited, feeling rather proud of himself because of his plan. The obscure clouds came closer, and the heavy rain started. Boom, 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 boom. The thunder was heavy and threatening, but Corey was holding on to the cables and the lines of the power plant, awaiting the lightning to strike. Boom, 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 boom. The sound of more heavy thunder tore the air. The rain soaked everything around him, even causing certain ditches and trenches to become flooded. But then he heard a voice. "Corey, is that you?" The wet green monster had no clue who that could be. Who would follow him all the way up here on the roof of a power plant, and in this weather? Then he saw it. What a coincidence. It was Xander. Finishing his climb on the tall ladder, he stuck his head above the rooftop and shouted, "Corey, don't do it! Just think about it!" The rain was loud, and it was hard for Corey to understand him completely, yet he still made sense out of what the friendly hobo was trying to say. "I have thought about it," Corey yelled. "People are rude. They are mean. They deserve what was coming to them all along. Don't try to talk me out of it. This must be done." "No, Corey," Xander said as he got closer to the desperate green monster. "You are better than that. I know you've been hurt. People have kicked me when I was down too. But you have to stand above that. You can't let them determine who you are." He continued, "Listen to me, Corey. When you showed me kindness by treating me to dinner and giving me a quarter, you may have thought it didn't mean much. But to me it meant the world. By the way, I got the job at the hamburger place. I have an apartment now. Oh, and here's your quarterback. Thanks again, buddy. Corey broke down and cried. He saw what he was about to do. Because of a series of unfortunate events and confrontations with the wrong people, he had a generalized view of the wickedness of the city, which was simply wrong. There were good people in this city, including this sincere guy who used to be a beggar like him. Please let go of the cables, Xander said as he stood within 3 feet distance from the upset green monster. I will take you to my apartment. But it was too late. Lightning struck. Ah! Corey exclaimed, feeling the electricity flow through his body, fully charging him with phenomenal power. Chapter 9. Mines. Luckily, Corey had let go of the cables before he got struck by the thunderbolt. Xander leaped back, away from the creature that was ready to explode. Corey was shaking. He was full with electricity from the thunderclouds. He was blue and white all over, illuminating an area of 50 feet around him with intense, bright light. It was all in him. It needed to blow up somewhere, and he didn't have much longer to decide where. Get out of here while you still can, he encouraged Xander. I can't hold this back for much longer. Then Xander got an idea. How much longer do you think? He asked. 5, maybe 10 minutes, the answer was. Perfect. Let's go. I have an idea, Xander said. Corey followed Xander down the ladder. Both of them jumped on the sand next to the building and started running towards an area Corey had never seen before. They pushed the guard over before shouting, Excuse us, coming through, and arrived at a mountain range. See that? Xander asked. What is it? Corey asked. It's the boulder in front of the mines, he said. With all the explosive energy in you, I think you are allowed to blow your heart out. Go ahead and blow up that annoying boulder. Corey squinted his eyes. His mouth lifted a little on one side, portraying a sly smirk. Good idea, he said in a low voice. Let's crack this thing and blow it to pieces. He stepped back, stroked his right foot on the floor as if he was a bull ready to attack. Then he sprinted as fast as he could at the blocking boulder. You're going down, he yelled, taking courage. He came closer and closer. Boom! It was such a big explosion that the ground shook all around him. People would later still discuss the strange earthquake feeling they had at that moment. The rocks and boulders shattered into 1,000 bits, freeing the entrance to the mine. Smoke evaporated from the scene, clouding Xander's vision even more than the heavy rain and the gray sky. Ugh, he coughed, moving his hand back and forth as if to blow off the smoke from his face. He watched the area where the boulder had been, and a newborn hero walked triumphantly through the rain, emerging from the thick vapor and smiling proudly. You did it, Corey! You did it! You opened the mine! Xander cheered. Yeah, it seemed rather easy, Corey bragged. I don't know why you guys had such a hard time blowing it up. Speaking of which, Xander said, rubbing his chin, I am sure you can find a job at the mines working as an explosive tool. There are numerous moments when they need a good, powerful explosion to help their work progress. I will see the former boss of the mine workers. No sooner said than done, the mines were open for exploration again. Xander went back to work at his old job, but this time as a highly paid project manager. And Corey had the time of his life blowing up whatever rocks would come his way. His passion had become his profession. The end. Diary of a Wimpy Witch, The Beauty Potion, Kids Adventure Stories, written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. In this story about a witch, you can listen to the troubles of a young woman, an aspiring witch who struggled with her inability to get it just right. She had been experimenting for a long time, and she was about to go crazy. But then she met her nemesis, the opponent that she despised yet needed in order to accomplish her long-desired goal, the perfect potion. Chapter 1. The Formula. I was almost there. The perfect potion was within my reach. What is the perfect potion? Well, the one that grants you eternal youth, of course. I knew it existed. I had heard of it many times before, but it was as if it was some secret recipe handed down throughout generations. I am sure a lot of witches had already used it and were now enjoying the wonderful effects of living forever, but I wasn't. I got up that day. It was a sunny morning, and I have to admit I was a little irritated because the light had woken me up. I yawned, I stretched my arms and legs, and in my underwear I walked to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. "Holy guacamole!" I exclaimed. I had just discovered the terrible state my hair was in. It was a huge mess, and even though I wouldn't go out to meet anyone today, I always considered taking care of myself a huge priority. Oh, did I mention my name? I totally forgot. Let me introduce myself. I am Valentina, and I am 18 years old. My mom and dad love me, but they were a little strict. Yeah, not good. They were so uptight that they made sure I was always on time. I always had to look like a doll. I always had to watch my manners at the table. I always had to get good grades in school. I always had to... Okay, you get the point, don't you? They were perfectionists, but not me, because even though I am looking for the perfect potion, I really don't care about perfectionism. Not everything has to be exactly right. You can be a little off and still manage to do fine, don't you think? That's how it was with me. I was always a little off. I fell asleep during witch classes. Oh, did I mention my mother is a witch? Well, there you go. I said it. She is. And she insisted on my career as a witch as well. She constantly told me about the benefits of magic, real magic, as she used to say. My dad agreed, of course, so I was sent to various schools in the district that taught the art of witchcraft. And when I say witchcraft, I am obviously referring to the good kind. No, I don't do that evil, dark stuff. Black magic is simply not an option for me. Anyway, so I was saying something about being off. Here is the thing. I was dyslexic, which means I have a hard time reading. I thought the letter P and the letter Q looked the same, and I could never grasp the difference between the letters D and B, if you know what I mean. It's a miracle my diary isn't full of spelling mistakes. Or is it? Oh, who cares, as long as you can read it, right? Another thing that was a little off about me was my lack of concentration. The world is beautiful. I was so happy to see colors, hear sounds and music, and perceive all the different smells around me. It was hard for me to block everything else out and focus on one task. It was like an overload of the senses. With these quirks, I wasn't suitable for school. I transferred from one school to the other, only to find myself in another classroom with all kinds of girls who were supposed to be the smartest ones in town, but didn't even know how to look good. I knew how to look good. A lot of guys were interested in me. They always looked when I walked by, and some of them whistled. When there was a dance, each boy would stand in line to take me there. I could pick easily between them, and the other girls watched in awe, incredibly jealous of the flirtatious behavior that just came naturally to me. So yes, I was a real looker, but I just didn't feel smart. I felt like dumb. I felt as if I belonged at a school with a bunch of models, but not witches. Witchcraft, again, the good kind, was hard. Each time I tried to put the elements together that I thought were in the old dusty books, I ended up making some stupid mistake which caused the entire brew to boil over or turn into the wrong color. But it was over now. I had given up on school. I was going to do it myself. When I told my parents, my mother encouraged me and wished me luck, but my father was as stern as ever. "You better come back with something worthwhile," he said when I left. I assured him I would, but I had no clue how it was going to work out. I left town and went to live in a quiet hideout on the other side of the mountains. It was a cozy cottage, so I didn't mind, but it was awfully lonely sometimes. However, I was determined to demonstrate the best formula and the best potion to my parents. They would be proud of me, super proud. Yep, that was my motivation, to show my parents. I think we all have that a little bit. that our whole purpose in life is to get our parents' attention. So here I was in my cottage, putting together the toe of a rat, a cow's hair, and a few magic mushrooms. The cauldron was big. The smells from it weren't very good anymore, but I was following the instructions in the big magic book and was stirring heavily to get these fluids going. Chapter 2: Explosion. When I looked for the lemon pepper, I bumped my head. "Ouch!" I said. Then I heard another sound. Meow. "Hey, Dolto, what are you doing here? I thought you were hunting mice." "Meow," was the answer. If only I had invented a potion to speak cat. That would have been helpful. Now Dolto was purring. He was getting in the way a little. "Okay, that's enough," I said. "You can go do something else now." The cat kept rubbing its side against my leg. I wasn't too pleased with it, and I felt like kicking it away. "That's enough," I shouted. "I am busy. Sorry, Dolto, some other time will be better." But Dolto wouldn't go away. Instead, he became fussy and started meowing louder and louder. He ran around in circles and wouldn't leave the room, even after I opened up the door. "Go already," I yelled. Clumsy cat. It walked backwards and knocked me over so that I fell over and bumped into the cauldron. The fluids in the cauldron flowed over and dropped into my shirt. "Ouch," I said again. "This is it. You are leaving now." I took the cat and held it out in front of me. I quickly walked to the door, said, "Catapult!" and threw him out the door. Did you know cats don't always land on their paws? Ha ha! Poor Dolto landed on his face. Thud. Oh well, that's what she got for letting me trip and getting hot fluid in my shirt. I am just glad it didn't actually burn my skin. I decided to look at the damage. I grabbed a rag and cleaned up the rest of the mess. Luckily, it wasn't really bad. I continued with the formula, the descriptions, and the complicated chemical explanations in the book I was using. The book was of ancient origins. It was made a few thousand years ago and handed down to me. Witchcraft isn't easy. You can't just create a magical item or drink. It all has to be done according to specific steps, and the exact extract of each additive is required to make it work. In other words, it was quite difficult. Take 2 teaspoons of vinegar, mix it with a snake's tail, an end of 11 inches, put a golden drop from the high mountains in it, stir frequently, and then sprinkle 3 particles from the explosive effects of an explosion before adding a skeleton's eye. And that's just one of the 20 paragraphs I had to read for one recipe. But this was the ultimate recipe, and fortunately, I had most of these ingredients anyway. You may wonder where you can find a skeleton's eye or the particles from an explosion, but I have to admit, I was impressed with the school's inventories and how much they were willing to sell to me at a low price. All I had to do was combine them. Okay, a little bit of this, and then that. It's coming. I think I am almost done. I added the last ingredients. Boom! The fluids blew up and splattered all over my room. The entire floor was disgusting. It was everywhere. I was disappointed and covered in a hot kind of soup. Yuck! But more than anything, I just wanted to find out what had gone wrong. I flipped through the book again, going over all the steps I followed. Purple pearls, check. Fishbone, check. 20 grains of salt, check. Oh, such perfectionism. But what was that? Only 2 teaspoons of vinegar? Oh no, I put 5 in. It's that stupid dyslexia I am struggling with. Why did the one who invented the alphabet or numbers or something make the 2 and the 5 look so similar? Ugh. Now my potion was ruined and I had to start all over again. Another day, another mistake. Back to the beginning. It was all part of my routine. But someday, I would master this thing. Chapter 3: The Counterpart. I didn't know what was in store for me, what was going to happen, until that dark day arrived. It was my nemesis, a woman from one of the witch schools who was bitter and angry. Her name was Marique. She was always nagging, and she wasn't very nice. I remember that whenever I had class with her, back in the days that I still went to school, she would take me apart and embarrass me in front of the whole class. One time, for example, she made me bend over and touch my toes. I had no idea why, but I obeyed blindly. Afterwards, I knew that she just wanted me to mess up my hair I had so carefully done that morning. But instead of everyone laughing at me, I got some attention from boys who were looking closely and were somewhat hypnotized by my beautiful body. I don't think I want to talk about that a lot, but all I can say is that some of them came to me after class and asked me on dates. It only gave me more attention, and I saw Marique, my teacher, become green from jealousy. She hated me. Why? Because I was attractive and she wasn't. Her face wasn't very symmetrical, she had a gigantic nose, and her black hat didn't go along with her outfit. I could tell, especially with my sense of fashion. So one day, I was just minding my own business in my tiny cottage, fiddling with the ingredients I had and rereading the formula in my book, when I heard a knock on the door. I opened up. "Wah-ha-ha! Yee-hee!" she said. There she was, not even waiting for me to talk to me. She knocked me over and I fell on the floor. It seemed to happen a lot lately. First by the cat and then by... Oh well, anyway, she ran towards my books, snatched the ancient book with the formula from the table, and exclaimed evil witch sounds. I always knew there was something fishy about her. But when she said that she wanted the formula for eternal youth to reverse it and make everyone ugly so that she wouldn't be considered as such, I really knew she was messed up in the hat. In a way, I felt for her, but the other half of my conscience told me to intervene. "Give it back," I shouted. "No way, you annoying beauty queen," she said sarcastically. "I am going to do the opposite of what's in this book, and when I have figured it out, you will be the first one to turn ugly." "What did I ever do to you? Are you really that bitter that you want to turn everyone ugly?" No response. She stepped on her broomstick and flew away. I ran back inside and grabbed mine. The chase had started. Chapter 4. The Pursuit. That evil witch! How dare she steal my recipe book? How dare she devise such evil schemes? I was focused and angry. I was going to stop her once and for all. When I grabbed my broomstick, I saw Dolto standing in the corner. He looked at me with pitiful eyes, as if he was apologizing for the previous accident he had caused. Poor cat. Maybe I could take him with me. He could come in handy. Oh, what was I saying? He would just be in the way, just like before. But then I looked into those big, cute eyes, and I couldn't resist. I picked him up and put him at the back of my broomstick. "You better behave," I told him. Then I took off. Flying through the air is a lot of fun. It's one of the great benefits of being a witch. I have always loved it. And this time I had to go faster than ever because I was chasing my nemesis, the annoying Marique with all her self-esteem issues, the one who took out all her problems on me, even though I never did anything on purpose to make her feel bad. It was ridiculous, and it just wasn't fair. I saw her. She had become a little dot in the distance, and I don't know if she saw me following her, but one thing was for sure. I knew where I was going. It took about 20 minutes until I saw her descend to the earth and land somewhere in the woods. I decided to keep my distance, so I landed somewhere else. From afar, I spied on her. I noticed she had a little cottage herself, but hers was deep into the forest, not just visible for everyone to see like mine. It felt more secretive this way, and I was curious about what she was hiding in there. I snuck closer. She had already gone inside. "Meow," Dolto said. "Shh," I said, holding my finger in front of my mouth and looking at him. I was talking to a cat. I felt a little stupid. Together, we came to the cottage, but we still hid outside. I peeked through the window and saw Marique staring at the book. I didn't know yet how I was going to get the book back, but I knew I would come up with something. I always did. I looked at Dolto, then I looked through the window. I looked at Dolto again. I looked through the window again. I knew what to do. I just needed a distraction. Dolto didn't look pleased when I squinted my eyes and had a smirk on my face. He slowly started walking away, but I was faster. "I am sorry, Dolto," I said. "It's nothing personal." I pulled back my leg and kicked the cat as hard as I could. "Meow, wow, 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 wow," the cat said. He flew through the air and ended on his paws this time. Fortunately, this caught Marique's attention. She looked over and came through the door. When she came outside and looked the other way, I quickly snuck around the back and went through the back door to steal my book back. She was still looking around, wondering where the crying cat sound came from. Good. This was good. I had the book. I was going to take it home, and she would never find out how it disappeared. Or would she? Chapter 5. Awkwardness. I tripped. When I was going out the back door, I tripped and fell, taking pots and pans down with me. Clang, clang, clang-a-ling. The noise was deafening. Oh no, she would discover me. "Ha ha! I've got you now," she said. She walked over quickly and pulled the book out of my hands. "You won't be in my way any more," she said. "Wait, why do you have to be this way?" I asked. "It doesn't make any sense, Marique. You don't have to punish everyone just because you feel bad about yourself." "Ha! Are you trying to talk me down? That's not going to work. Everybody hates my face. They deserve to know how it feels." "No, they don't," I said. "Oh, it's so easy for you to say," she said. "You were always popular and wanted. I never had any of that. People think I am ugly." "But what if we could make your face prettier? Wouldn't that make it better? Then you wouldn't have to bug anyone else. You could just leave them the way they are." "Apparently you don't know anything about these formulas. The Eternal Youth Potion only helps you stay young, but it doesn't improve your face." "Well, isn't there a potion that can help you become beautiful?" I asked. "There is," she said calmly. Then she put her head down and became very sad. I noticed she had been struggling with this issue for a while now. It was consuming her, and she couldn't let it go. It made me think of how important it is to people to be considered attractive. When they think they're ugly, even when they are not, it can really damage their self-esteem. I was hoping I could do something to help so she wouldn't take out her frustration on others. "And?" I asked, "where is the recipe?" She sobbed. "It's right there in this book." "Oh, then it shouldn't be a problem. Here, let me look it up." I began flipping through the pages of the book, trying to find the formula for the beauty potion. I couldn't find it, so I looked in the content page. "It's on page 254, she said, interrupting me. "I already looked at it." "Ah, so you're familiar with it. How come you haven't brewed it yet?" Chapter 6. That Component. Marique looked sad again, as if she had been trying her whole life and had been failing at every attempt. She buried her face in her hands. I put my hand on her back and rubbed her back a little. I apologized for not understanding and asked her again why she hadn't made it yet. "I have every ingredient I need," she said. "Let's do it then," I said excitedly. "Except for one." "Oh, what is it?" "It's a purple pearl," she said. "Really? I have purple pearls in my cottage. I can just go get them." "No," she said. "The ones you have are purple. You can find those anywhere. The purple pearl the recipe requires is red." "A purple pearl? I've never heard of that." "It's because they are so rare. You can only find them in the distant lands, and they are guarded by dragons." "Sounds dangerous," I admitted. "It is, and that's why nobody I know has ever created that beauty potion yet. None of the witches I know want to risk their lives to look better. Besides, most of them look prettier than me anyway." I thought for a while. If I would brew that potion, I wouldn't just help Marique and make sure she would stop harassing me, but I would also have the opportunity to take it home and show my parents I had made one of the most desired, hardest to create potions in the country, perhaps even in the world. "I'm in," I said. I will go and get the purple pearl for you."
"Oh no," Marique said. "I can't ask you to do that."
"You're not asking me. I am offering my services to you. I want this potion as much as you do."
"Why? You already look great. You don't need it."
"Oh, I have my reasons. Trust me."
"Okay, just be careful out there. I am not coming along. I feel too old for adventures with dragons and rocky roads."
"It doesn't matter, but I want you to do me a favor as well."
"Oh, anything," she said. "If you are willing to get that pearl from me, just ask what you want."
"Could you take care of Dolto? I've been a little mean to him, but I'm sure you will find some yummy milk for him to drink."
"That's all?" "Yes, of course."
"Thanks. I will see you later." Those were my last words at the time. I walked outside, jumped on my broomstick, and took off, flying through the sky, ready to face some real dangers. Chapter 7: The Distant Land. The distant lands were grim and empty. When I arrived there, I couldn't believe a place like this existed. The chilling wind wasn't enough to scare me. However, when I saw dead animal carcasses and flies buzzing around them, I started doubting if I made the correct decision to come here. Was beauty really worth all of this? Perhaps it was harder for me to understand anyway, since I had been beautiful all my life. I didn't know any better than receiving compliments and attention from everyone daily. I flew and flew. It was a vast area of rocks and canyons, but no life. The occasional tree gave me hope, but when I noticed that even the bushes were as dry as the desert itself, it gave me the creeps. A black fog emerged from the distance, making the place look eerie and gloomy, taking away all my self-induced reassurances and made-up confidence I had been talking myself into having. What an awful place. No wonder Marique was so reluctant to come here. I knew where the dragons were. It actually wasn't that difficult to find them, since they were always spitting fire and smoke evaporated from the areas they lived in. So all I had to do was follow the smoke. I gazed at the horizon while hovering above the ground on my broomstick. I guess I should have floated a bit higher, because at that moment, an ocelot jumped at me. I don't know why I didn't see it coming. Maybe because it was hiding between some blades of high grass before it attacked me. Either way, it jumped on my broomstick. I figured I had become kind of good at kicking and throwing cats anyway, so an ocelot was no different. "Get off, stupid ocelot!" I yelled, trying to spin my broomstick in a way it would let go. It didn't let go, so I flew around. I went upside down and made circles to the left and to the right. I spun in the air and shook back and forth. "Row, row, row," the ocelot said. It held on for a while, but eventually it had to let go. I was making too many quick maneuvers on my broomstick to lose him. When I went straight up and dashed down again, only to skim the surface and fly back up again, the ocelot couldn't hold anymore and fell on the ground. Thud! Finally. Now I could continue on my journey. Better to stay high in the sky, unless there were dangerous birds that could attack me. Imagine that. Ugh. I put my hand above my eyes and scanned the terrain, looking for smoke. Aha! There it was! Evaporating smoke from behind the mountain range. That's where I could find the dragons. I didn't wait any longer and headed in that direction. When I arrived, I couldn't believe my eyes. There was lava everywhere. Little lights in the sky and gravity-beating objects were floating above the volcanic rims, as if nature didn't have anything to say against it. It was breathtaking and perilous at the same time. Now I really wasn't sure if I wanted to go on, but I did. I flew over one of the volcanoes and discovered a dragon. It was black and purple, but mostly black, which made it even harder to follow its movements as it flew away. Another chase, another pursuit. I was going after it. I flew as fast as I could on my broomstick. The dragon flew up into the foggy clouds and back down to the surface. With every move, I copied its exact pattern. I still didn't know where the pearls were, though. I had been looking for them since I came here, but I didn't see a dragon's nest or a cave or anything. The only thing I could think of was to keep observing the dragon. So I waited. Hiding behind a rock, I waited and waited. Suddenly, a large shadow fell over me. It startled me, and I turned around to see where it was coming from. It was another dragon. Ah! I screamed in fear, going up into the sky on my broomstick. The dragon chased after me and sped through the air. I zigzagged to get rid of him, but ended up in a foggy cloud. It was gone. Phew, that was close. Where did it go? Well, hopefully it wouldn't come back. I think I made a smart move hiding in here. I waited for another 20 minutes or so before I had the guts to descend to those scary areas again. When I did, I finally saw it. There it was, a purple pearl. But it wasn't easy to get it. It was impossible, or so it seemed. Remember those floating pieces of burning objects I was talking about? That's where the purple pearls were. I flew closer and took a keen look at one of them. The purple pearl was exactly in the core of the burning fire. It didn't make any sense to me how this could be, but there was nothing I could do about it. Now what? I couldn't take the whole flaming blaze, could I? Or maybe I could reach inside it, grab the purple pearl, and pull it out. But then I would burn my hand. I wasn't going to do that. That would be crazy. I flew to a few other ones to check if they were just as hard to get. Each and every one of those pearls had the same problem. They were all deep inside the core of a hot, burning object. I figured it was because that was the way they came into existence in the first place. They were naturally and slowly forged by the fire in those things. Interesting, but how was I going to get them out? It was driving me nuts. I flew from the one to the other, making sure there wasn't an easier one to get a hold of. There wasn't. Then I did something I have often wondered about later. I regularly asked myself in the following years if it was the best solution or if it was plain stupidity, because looking back, I shiver when I think of the pain I went through at that moment. A quick thought entered my mind. If I would reach inside and grab it, it would burn my hand, but I could take it home, create the potion, and heal my hand with it. The potion grants the ultimate beauty, so drinking it would heal my flawed hand immediately. I was doubtful, but taking courage, I decided there was no other way. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and opened my eyes again. This was it. I was going to voluntarily burn my hand to help Marique become beautiful. I couldn't even imagine the agony I was about to face, but it was necessary, and I was going to bite through it. I reached as quickly as I could and grabbed the purple pearl with my left hand. Ouch! I screamed in pain, after which I dropped the pearl and started blowing on my hand. Ow, 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 ow! I continued, crying in the meantime. I don't think I had ever felt that much pain before. It was awful, but I had succeeded. The purple pearl was out of the flaming object. It had fallen to the ground and was now cooling off so I could put it in my pocket and go home. I waited a little while, occasionally testing the heat emanating from the purple pearl. When I noticed it had become colder, I picked it up, took it with me, and whooshed as fast as I could towards the deserted lands I had passed through. Oh, my hand hurt so much, but I knew that if I could reach the cottage, it would all soon be over. After an hour or so, I saw the forest. This was my rescue. Now we just had to create the potion. Chapter 8. The Beauty Potion. When I came to Marique's cottage in the forest, I jumped off my broomstick and barged in. "Marique!" I shouted. "Let's get that potion going now!" Marique was startled. She didn't understand why I was in such a hurry, but then she saw my hand and put her hand in front of her mouth.
"What happened?" she asked.
"Only that your precious little pearl was in an excruciating burning flame," I said while flapping my left hand up and down.
Okay, she said as she was stressing out. "Give me a few seconds. The recipe book, over there. Okay, the ingredients. Where is the—" And that's how it went on for some time. I walked back and forth, trying to forget the pain and assisting her when she needed me. I gave her the purple pearl from my pocket, and we added every little ingredient we had to, according to the instructions in the book. Finally, we put some sage and eggplant in and watched as the fluids in the cauldron turned into a purple color. "Well, this is it then, isn't it?" Marique asked. "This should be right. Let's hope for the best. After you."
She took the big spoon, dipped it in, and handed it to me. I didn't wait another second and drank everything. Suddenly, I felt better. I got a tingling feeling in my hand, and I saw it heal rapidly. Some other little imperfections in my appearance changed, but I mostly stayed the same. "Oh, that feels so good," I said, being relieved that it was working. Marique was smiling. She was hopeful. I had never seen her this delighted before. I gave her the spoon, and she took a big sip herself. I watched as her countenance changed into that of a pretty young woman. She wiggled her fingers and toes and picked up a mirror. "Wow, is that me?" she asked. She was happy as a clam. "I am gorgeous. This is amazing." "I agree. Look at you," I said. She kept admiring herself in the mirror for a while. Then she turned to me and embraced me. "I am sorry for all the hard times I put you through," she said. "I was just jealous, and I realized I was wrong. You went so far to help me out, and you even got your hand burned to get the purple pearl. Thank you for all you've done." "Oh, it's okay," I said. "You're welcome." I was proud of myself. I was happy. I had actually helped someone feel better about herself. It was like a magic makeover. We were like best friends all of a sudden. We chatted a little before I went home, and I made sure I got some of the potion in a giant glass bottle to take with me. She gave me back the book, and I put Dolto the cat on my broomstick. We flew to my cottage, and I went to bed. The next day, I traveled to my parents. They had a big house. Dolto was left at the cottage. He would just be a drag to take with me. I landed in front of their yard and walked to the door. I knocked, and my mom opened up. "Welcome," she said. "You look great." Apparently, she hadn't been expecting me, and she even noticed the slight changes. We gave each other a hug, and she let me in. My dad was standing in the hallway. He looked at me with a serious expression on his face. I looked back. It was a little awkward. "So what did you make?" he asked. "I made a beauty potion," I said proudly. I pulled the bottle out of my bag and showed it to them. My mom had already become fairly old, and the wrinkles on her face were showing. So when I mentioned a beauty potion, she seemed very interested. "I'd like to try it," she said. My dad looked intrigued too. He came closer and took a long, hard look at the potion, as if he could tell how effective it would be just by looking at it. My mom opened it up and drank a little sip. My father stepped back. "Whoa," he said. "What is happening?" My mother's wrinkles disappeared immediately. Her whole appearance became more youthful and smooth. As she felt the rush from the effect of the fluids, a smile appeared on her face. "It feels great," she said. "Wow, honey," my dad admitted. I can't even find the words for it." "Pretty good, isn't it?" I said. "Valentina, my daughter, this is the most impressive thing you've ever made. I am proud of you." "Thanks, Dad." "Now, if you'll excuse us, I think I want to give my wife a kiss or two." I didn't know what to do, but before I knew it, they were kissing each other, elaborately. "Okay, have fun. I'm out of here," I said as I rushed upstairs. It was a great day. My parents were proud of me. They were happy with each other, and even my dad was proud of me. The end.